Maria-Paz. So today you're going to be reflecting on your writing piece that you submitted last week. And today you're also setting a goal to yourself so you can improve in your writing. So that's why I'm going to explain you how to write goals to yourself using the SMART goals approach. I'm pretty sure some of you have heard about this because you practice sports and it's possible that your coach has mentioned this before. If not, don't worry, I'll explain it right now. But SMART goals are the most effective way to approach goal setting. So that's why it's important. And let's talk about what happens in class. In class, you usually complete a task, you submit it, I give you feedback, but then this feedback is not really valuable if you don't take action after you receive it. If you don't take action after you receive it, you're not going to improve your performance next time. And this, of course, applies to sports too. If after a game, after you receive the feedback of your coach, if you don't take action to do better the next game, you're not going to improve. So it's the same way in Spanish in relation to sports too. Totally applicable as well. And the idea of this is that when you set a goal, you're inviting yourself to kind of meet it. You have something in mind that you can work towards. So that will help you with achievement as well. Going up this ladder so you can meet the goal instead of getting stuck because you're not taking action after you receive feedback. And you have to keep in mind, guys, that as I was telling you before, learning Spanish is centered on accomplishing goals as life in general. So when you're learning Spanish, imagine yourself in Spanish level 1, you learn colors, numbers, you learn basic vocab that will help you to introduce yourselves to others. And when you're able to do that, bingo, you meet your first goal. And then you start learning vocab related to friends and family and how to talk about others. And then you realize that your goal has changed because you're moving up towards proficiency, right? So it's the same in life, it's the same in sports, your goals are changing. The important thing when we're talking about goals, though, is that we have to write it down so we can visualize it, so we can work towards it. And that's the rule. The written rule crystallizes the thought. So when you write your goal down on paper or maybe on a whiteboard in your room, you have it there. You can visualize it. So that's powerful because you own it and you make yourself accountable for reaching that goal. And you also realize that if you don't meet that goal, you're going to affect your classmates in Spanish class. Or if you don't meet that goal in your team, you're going to affect your teammates too. So that's the power of the written rule. It makes you accountable. So that's what we're going to do in Spanish class. And now, why are they called SMART goals? Well, here we have the S. It stands for specific. And that means that your goal has to be clearly defined. It has to have a specific result. So if you say, I want to become a better writer in Spanish, that is not specific. It has to be specific. The M, when it stands for measurable, and that means that you are able to quantify your goal to see if you have met it and you have some way of measure your progress towards it. So that's really, really important. Letter A stands for action oriented or attainable. And this means that when you write your goal, it has to explain an action. You need to do something. It has to be action oriented. You have to take action. And also that it's a goal that is attainable, because you cannot say, okay, my goal will be whenever I use verbs in preterite, I'm going to have 100% of accuracy. That's not attainable because everybody makes mistakes. Like I even I just did. I make mistakes in Spanish sometimes. We all do that. Nobody's perfect. I always say I'm not looking for perfection, but proficiency. So that wouldn't be realistic. And that's the next one. That's the R, realistic. So it has to be a goal that first is going to improve your performance. It's going to have a positive effect. Second, it would be a goal that is within your capabilities, within your physical capabilities, if we're talking about sports, within your mental capabilities, if we're talking about Spanish class. And that you can also commit to the goal and what the goal will take. That's also realistic, okay? And then the T stands for time. So you have to consider a time frame. You cannot say, okay, I want to improve my conjugations of preterite in an 80% and that's it. No, you need to include a time frame there so you can have a start date and an end date in which you're going to see if you achieved your goal or not. So that's going to keep you moving towards attaining that goal. And here I have some examples for you guys. So, for instance, if you're thinking of football, American football, these are good examples of SMART goals. To catch 99% of the passes, of all passes thrown to me each day of practice for the next 30 days. So it is specific, it is measurable because it says 99%. Somebody can be counting, or you can even be counting whether you catch the pass or not. And then it's action oriented, so it requires you to take action, maybe to practice how to receive the ball, to practice that technique. It's realistic because you're including here every day in your practice. 99% is not perfection, so it leaves some room for error. And it's time because you're including here the time period, 30 days. So you have that time to actually accomplish that goal. And then the second one is related to a math class goal that somebody wrote. It says to improve my math grade from 76% to 92% within 30 days. This is a SMART goal, but it could have been a little bit better, describing what actions you're going to take, okay? But it's an okay example, I guess. It is weighed. It's graded oriented though, and I'm not a fan of those, but I guess it works. So those are examples of SMART goals. So this is what you are going to do now. So now it's your turn to set your own SMART goal. So I want you to do the following. You're going to check your performance on the writing that you submitted last week, writing number 1, unit 3, your final piece. You're going to read the feedback I gave you, and you're going to read the comments, and of course please take a look at the final rubric that I attach in the comment, because that's the rubric that gives you the grade, the final grade. And based on your performance and the feedback that I have provided to you, I want you to create a SMART goal related to your writing skills in Spanish. So you're going to think maybe what category from the rubric you want to improve on. I don't want to give you too many ideas because I want you to figure that out. But using this presentation and also the document that I will attach and I'll post on Canvas, you're going to write your own SMART goal so you can improve your writing for the next time we do a writing activity that we're going to have probably one more writing activity. So please remember that it has to be specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and timed. Okay? And realistic also means, guys, that it's important to you, to your life, I guess, as a Spanish learner. So if you have questions, just reach out to me. And now it's your turn to write your SMART goal.